One of the most important differences and similarities between the two languages is the employment of cognates. Cognates are words in two languages that share a similar meaning, spelling, pronunciation. While English may share very few cognates with language like Chinese, 30 to 40% of all words in English have a related word in Spanish. Drawing attention to cognates and teaching new vocabulary helps Spanish-speaking ELs significantly. False cognates are words that sound like they could be a cognate but actually have an entirely different meaning. Actually and actualmente are two commonly confused false cognates. Actually can be translated to en realidad, and actualmente actually means currently. Assist and asistir is another example. Assist should be translated to ayudar, and asistir should be translated to attend. I think there are some cultural norms that educators should be aware of as well. First of all is the influence of religion in Latino and Spanish-speaking countries. According to one study, it was found that 84% of the Spanish-speaking individuals were raised in a Catholic home and had a Catholic influence. Due to this, the idea that men are more dominant to women is a part of the culture, and typically elders are supposed to be looked up to as well. Further, as a person grows older, they are seen as more capable of making decisions, and this can influence our ELs in their self-efficacy and ability to work and make decisions in the classroom. Further, one other cultural norm that is commonly accepted is being 10 to 15 minutes late to an event. This is not seen as rude and is in fact appropriate and something that educators may need to work on in their classes with their students. Cultural norms. Spanish-speaking cultures typically support talking over one another or interrupting one another's thoughts. This is typically due to the fact that it shows that an individual is interested in what another person is saying and trying to add to the discourse. Spanish-speaking individuals offer little wait time to a question that is asked. This is because it shows that a person is interested. So as opposed to seeing that your students, so if your Spanish-speaking students are taking a long time to raise their hands, their culture tells them that they need to raise their hands, so maybe there might be an issue going on that the educator needs to address, be it confusion or a lack of understanding of what the question is asking. Nonverbal communication. There are multiple ways that gestures and nonverbal communication sends a message to an individual. The come here gesture that we use in the US is commonly seen as a sign of romantic intent in some Spanish-speaking countries. Tossing an object to someone else is considered rude in some Hispanic cultures as well, and medium to high levels of or amount of hand gestures used in conversation are socially acceptable. Further, touching a person from a Spanish-speaking society during conversation is seen as acceptable, along with greeting a person with a handshake is customary if the person is a stranger. To add on to this, females need to extend their hand out first to the male for the male to shake the hand. Direct eye contact is also seen as disrespectful or rude, especially when it's a child looking into the eyes of an adult. Implications of this communication style. Students may struggle with talking over one another. This can be seen as rude from the teacher's perspective, but is a sign of interest in the subject. Students also may avoid eye contact, and this may be perceived as it being disrespectful, but actually it is power distance that the student perceives exists. Students will do well with group work and having opportunities to collaborate with their peers in class. Further, students may be perceived as mumbling by an educator because of the volume that Spanish speakers speak at. Typically, students that speak Spanish talk in softer, faster tones. Understanding language differences. Cognates and false cognates can lead to either helping or hindering the L in lessons. Making sure that we understand what cognates and false cognates exist for pre-teaching vocabulary and giving instructions can really help our L's. If we're using a word like asistir or a word like assist, well, our L's can get confused by this. So if we were to say, we need to assist each other in coming to a conclusion about yada yada yada, well, we need to be proactive and explain what the word assist means. Interactions with parents. Understand the culture from which the parents and students come from. There are 20 countries around the world which claim Spanish as their official language. Due to this, we need to understand that every single country is the same and practices different norms. We need to be asking questions to the parents about their culture, their language, and the way that their student is. We also need to be aware of nonverbal cues that we may give off to the parents. Many of the cues that we think are okay and commonly accepted in the U.S. may come across as rude or vulgar to some people from different countries and cultures. Thank you for listening.